Hello, friends and neighbors. Let's get it underway for another day. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is conveniently called The Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk. It's Tuesday. It's March 5. It is Election Day for, 15 or so states around the good old United States of America. It's also the day of our big event tonight at Nashville Palace. We'll tell you more about that coming up in just moments. After I get the pleasantries out of the way and get the show lumbering under its own weight, it is episode 524 of the proceedings today. Glad to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're appreciative. We have 3 full hours, 180 minutes to spend with you until we hand off officially to Brian Wilson at 3 o'clock this afternoon. You can listen to us on the radio, obviously, 99.7 FM. You can also check us out on your internet streaming platform of your choosing, wherever you stream information, music, news, talk. We're there, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And then you can find us on Supertalk TV as well. Supertalk TV is available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. When Facebook decides to work, I don't know if it's working now or not, one way or the other. And I mean, not just for us, Bell. I mean, altogether. Yesterday, it was not working for us on our show or day before, and we don't know why that is. Today, it's not working for anybody, apparently, earlier this morning.
Very finicky program.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, Zuckerberg's busy counting his cash, not so busy making sure that the hamsters go around the little hamster wheels fast enough to power the intraweb.
Did you see what he had to do to have a meeting with his team on fixing it?
I did not.
He had to jump on X and use their...
Did he really?
Yeah, he had to jump on X and use their mass meeting part of the platform.
That pleases me to no end. I bet there's another guy that is pleased even more than me
Elon.
about that, and that would be Elon Musk, sure. So there's the voice of Bell K. You will hear Bell K's voice on occasion on the radio show. You will not see him on the television side of things, as he chooses not to participate on the TV side of things, which is why we call him Headless Bell. Headless Bell does participate in this matter, though. He offers us a title of every day's episode, and today's episode 524 on the TV side of things is entitled
Matt Murphy voted most likely to have a cocktail at Nashville Palace. Libertarian lunch, noon to 3, hot chicken.
Amongst what? The four of us?
Yeah, amongst everybody.
Well, that's
including the
probably true,
listeners.
too. I mean, amongst the four of us, I don't think there's any question. 4870 starts the show off the right way with a question that we've gotten from time to time. And I think maybe it's a good time for you newbies in the listening audience for us to answer some of these questions that we regularly get about the radio show. And this one is, in your opening theme song, is that you yelling? No, it is not. Are you saying tug it? No, I am not. Nor is the person that's singing the song. The song is Shine Down, and the song is called Cut the Cord. And what the individual yells at the beginning of the song is cut it.
Brent Smith is their lead singer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Brent Smith. Brent Googly Moogly?
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. So it's Cut the Cord, and it's a song about freedom and making sure that you are not entangled by snares that people set for you in order to entrap you and advance their cause and do so at the sake of your freedom and liberty. Anyway, at least that's my take on it. Lots to do today. It is Super Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Super Day! That's more applause than we normally get. That is certainly more than we normally get. It is Super Tuesday. More importantly, it is another Super Talk Live event. Super Tuesday, March 5th. That is today at the Nashville Palace. Free. Free to you, free to me. Broadcasting live. Brian Wilson will be there all afternoon long, starting at 3 o'clock. Doors open at 6. Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Brian Wilson, a night of fun, food, frivolity, conversation. Let us know you're coming. You can still do that online by going to 997wtn.com, or you can just show up. But if you just show up, look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying there is a possibility the fire marshal might get involved in this event, because I am told that the seating is limited to several hundred people, and we expect a a lot of people, and I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to shake your hand. Heck, I'll even hug your neck if you come on out and see us. Details at 997WTN.com. Once again, you're in the running for a massive hot chicken and barbecue tailgate for 25 people. It all starts at 6. It is brought to you by the Glock store at shoe270.com, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and membersnutrition.com, and we would love to see you this evening. You will see me, and my hair will not be cut. I tried to get a haircut today, and I was unable to get a haircut today. And that's all I'm going to tell you about the story, except that at 2:05, we're going to premiere a new segment on the Matt Murphy Show called The Murphy Court, in which Matt Murphy tells a story about something that happened to Matt Murphy in Matt Murphy's life, and Bell K, Mac Maury, and you, the listening audience, get to decide as the jurors in Murphy's court whether or not I am guilty of some sort of life entanglement that I should not have engaged in, or if I'm innocent of all charges against me. Not that there are actually charges against me. I just want to know if sometimes I feel like I don't know how to act in society. Sometimes I just don't understand where I am anymore in society. Jason writes and says, the doors don't open until 6. I don't know, Jason. That's a great question. It says that the event starts at 6 o'clock. I imagine the doors open before that, so you can do all the pre-gaming you want. But all I know is what it says on my copy sheet. I will be getting there before 6 o'clock. I can promise you that. I'll be there probably about 5:15 or so. So if I see you, then obviously I'll get you in. 2637 wants to know why Matt Murphy's talking. Matt Murphy loves to talk in third person. I find it very amusing.
I think that goes back to your hero worship of Bob Dole, if I'm correct.
I'm Bob Dole. Bob Dole doesn't take crap from anybody. I'm more of a fan. I do a good impersonation of Norm Macdonald doing Bob Dole. You know what I mean? Do Bob Dole. I'm Bob Dole. Damn it. I'm Bob Dole, and you're not Bob Dole. Bob Dole's Bob Dole. My favorite. Jason says go to a barbershop. I went to a barbershop, Jason, this morning to get a haircut, and the barbershop and me, we had a little disagreement about what an appointment means. That's all. And it's all good. I'm not.
You know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation.
That's exactly right. It's like a Jerry Seinfeld episode. I'm not going to make it till 2 o'clock before I tell this story because I'm chomping at the bit. Or champing at the bit, as Brian Wilson would say. So I go to my polling place this morning in beautiful Mount Juliet, Tennessee, at the Charlie Daniels Community Center. I had many options to choose from, but I chose the Charlie Daniels Community Center because I love Charlie Daniels and everything about him. And I was kind of hoping to see David Corlew there, but, whatever. And I walk in, and it's good. I appreciate it. The machine that we used is different, but, we were able to figure it out. There's many people there ready, willing, and able to assist. Those of us who are older and don't understand your fancy machinery. But we got the push button thing going on, and I figured it out. And you know what? I voted. You know what I did? You know what I did, Bell? Have you voted? By the way?
I did earlier.
Oh, you early voted?
Yeah.
Do you vote for electors?
What do you mean?
Electors, the electors, the people that want to go to the convention. It's that laundry list of people, delegate for Trump, delegate for DeSantis, all of those.
Well, yeah, if there's there weren't any for Libertarian that I remember, so I don't think I voted for that.
Oh, well, probably not. So I voted in the Republican Party primary because I wanted to cast a ballot for Donald J. Trump, which I plan on doing during the general election.
Talking about wasting your vote, man. Nobody's voting for him.
Well, I technically shouldn't vote in the primary process because it's technically not for me. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, certainly. I identify as a Libertarian, and one would suggest that I perhaps should not be voting in a primary where I don't identify as a part of that political party. But I do because the two-party system is such that they they push back anytime a third party begins to encroach upon their power and control. And part of the problem in Washington, D.C., I would suggest to you, is the power and control held by the two political parties. If there's one thing that the two political parties can agree on, is they don't want a third. Because a third presents a danger to them. It presents a danger to the stranglehold that they have on American politics. They know who their enemies are. And their enemies are the Democrats if you're Republicans, and the Republicans are and vice versa. So they don't want a third-party system. And so I play their little game, and I go to the polls, and I vote in the primary, because you know what? I'll do that until you close the primary off and you require me to register as a Republican. And when you require me to register as a Republican, I won't, and therefore I will no longer vote in your primary. And I think that would advance the cause of a third party far more than anything else. A Libertarian, 5262 asks a great question. What exactly is a Libertarian? I believe that I own me. I believe that you own me. You. I do not believe that you should be controlled by government in any way that doesn't directly impact or affect the rights of other people. I believe that government serves best that serves least. I believe that the only spaces in which government should serve are those community spaces by which we have an expectation that civilized society will formulate a governance of said situations, and we will determine through a vote as to how we're going to be represented in those situations. You know, like common spaces like roadways and whatnot. Otherwise, I do not believe that the government should control the activities of my daily life unless it has a direct impact on the health and welfare or rights of other people. I hope that answered your question.
So basically, you just want to be able to smoke pot while firing your machine gun.
Well, don't forget the hookers.
Oh, the hooker, yeah.
Don't forget about the hookers.
Got to have somebody to show off in front of.
You know if you are a real libertarian, how, Bell?
Because another libertarian is telling you you're not a real libertarian.
That's exactly right. So that's a little something for those of you who are confused by the matter. But anyway, I go in and I told this story just before we came on, but I'll tell it briefly now. I have long pushed back on the idea of stickers because when I first started voting, and since, there has been this expectation that you will take a sticker and you will put the sticker on your person and you will wear the sticker whether you like it or not. And so for the first several voting cycles that I went through, I did what I was told. I put on the sticker and I wore the sticker all day. Oh, I voted. And it occurred to me at some point in my 20s or maybe in my early 30s that I don't have to play this game. I'm doing my civic duty. It is not a part of my civic duty to wear your stupid sticker all day. And I frankly, if you need to see me wearing, and I'm being dead serious, if you need to see me wearing a sticker that says I voted to remind you that today's voting day, I don't want you to vote anyway. Why am I promoting that? Y'all understand what I'm saying? If I go to my workplace after voting at lunch and Susie May over in the corner there is making copies and she looks at me and says, oh, is today the day that we vote? Oh, I need to go out and do that. I don't think that Susie May is as informed as I want my voting population to be. So I've been anti-sticker for a long time. And honestly, more than anything, it is the look of the person. And this started when I was in Montgomery, Alabama in 2000. And then in Birmingham, Alabama, in a variety of different polling locations in Birmingham and the suburbs. And now in Tennessee, it is more than anything. It is the look of the people when you tell them that you do not want a sticker. That I don't know why that moment in my life gives me so much pleasure and joy. But invariably, whether Montgomery or Helena, Alabama, or Vestavia or Cahaba Heights or Birmingham or Mount Juliet, Tennessee, the look on the face of the person trying to give you the sticker is one of shocked dismay. They don't really know what to do with themselves. I can't be the only one that turns down the sticker, but apparently there are a few enough of us. Eric is right. I really am a curmudgeon. But I came by it honestly. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I've been a curmudgeon for the last 20 years.
People volunteer to do that work for free for the sheer joy of handing those stickers out, and you go and crush their spirit.
It is very much, that's true.
Get off my lawn!
It is 4240 writes, and this is the second Seinfeld reference in as many minutes. Where is your ribbon? You must wear the ribbon. Where is your ribbon? Where's the ribbon? You must wear the ribbon. Well, I'm in the march.
I'm doing the walk.
I'm doing the walk. Why do I have to wear the ribbon? I just voted. I've done my civic duty. This is not a part of the deal.
Don't be a ribbon bully.
And so I think I have the photo. I'll put it up on my social media. Did I tell you that a week or so ago I got an I voted sticker in the mail here at the station?
Were they informing you that they voted for you?
No, they were just letting me. Hold on. Did I take a picture of it? I think I did. They were letting me know that. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Yeah, there. For those watching on the tube, there it is. I took a photo of it. I'll post this up. It says, "Hey, Murph, I thought you might like my I voted sticker again. If you don't want them, you can always give them to Headless and stick the other one on top of Mandis's head. Your bud, 4722.
Yeah, I've always taken the sticker, and I'll just take it home and put it on a notebook or something.
Yeah, I don't take the stickers. I'm anti-sticker. Anthony says you could also tell the lady to shove it because it's America and all. Well, I mean, I don't.
And Brandon said
I'm
he
not trying to
wasn't-
be mean about it.
Brandon said he wasn't even offered a sticker today. It's probably because they assumed you voted for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, if you
With
vote
a name
for,
like Brandon.
Yeah, you get no stickers if you're a Brandon. Come on, Brandon. It's 12:22. It is voting day. Give us some reports if you've been out and about and you're voting. I mean, I understand it's primary day. It's not the general election, so it's not that level of excitement. We understand who's going to win the Republican primary in the state of Tennessee. We understand that fully, as a matter of fact. And we don't have any other contested races. On the delegate front, I'll tell you this. If you're a Trump delegate, the only way you got my vote was if I thought your name was interesting. I went through the Trump delegate names. You could pick up to 14, and I just found several of them that I thought were funny or interesting because I have no idea. I mean, these are people that want to go to the Republican Party, the convention, and act as party delegates. And some are going to come at me and say that I'm not taking that seriously. And you're right. I'm not taking that seriously. And so I just voted for a few names. I think I voted for John Rose.
Can I throw something in real quick?
You may.
Jason, our longtime listener, has admitted to being a Democrat on the super text line. Because he said he got 2 stickers, which means he voted twice.
He means he voted twice, yeah. Well, that's no good. Dang. Well, we'll see I'll see Jason tonight. You will not see Jason tonight.
Correct.
Because you will not be at the party tonight. 615-737-9986. If you want to get in on the phone lines, you're welcome. It's kind of a free-for-all on this election day. Episode 524, The Murphy Show on Super Talk. You know, in the United States, we spend a lot of money on health care, more than any country, as a matter of fact. A big part of that is because our system focuses on treating people after they are sick and not trying to treat in a preventative way. Let me introduce you to Kraft Body Scan. What a great piece of technology right here in Nashville, Tennessee that I want to make you aware of. And right now you have a great opportunity to get into Kraft Body Scan, and for the low price of $149, you and your spouse, you and your significant other can have a heart and lung scan. This is an opportunity for you to be introduced to Craft Body Scan and how they do their business. This is a CT scan. People can simply call up, make their appointment, come in and have it done. You don't need your primary doctor to order this. You don't need to have symptoms in order to do this. As a matter of fact, I would encourage you to do it with no symptoms at all. Why? Because things happen in your body before you become aware of them, and you can catch them early, whether it's heart issues, lung issues. I mean, you understand that there are a lot of moving parts going on inside of your body, and if something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong before you're aware of it and before you become symptomatic. Craft Body Scan offers that peace of mind at an unbeatable price of $149. Know your body, know your health risks, and contact Craft Body Scan today. Go to Craft Body Scan, spell craft with a C, craftbodyscan.com. That's craftbodyscan.com, or call them, 615-436-1000. 436-1000. Tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Craft Body Scan. Hello, gentlemen. It's Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. I know something that affects at least half of the men that I'm talking to at some point in your life as you mature, and that is, well, let's just call it bedroom issues. Now, I understand that that's a delicate subject for some, but it's not something to deny. It's not something to put off, and it's certainly not something to be ashamed of. It is just a fact of life, and it's not something to wait to be fixed. We live in amazing times. We live in a time where you can go to the doctor at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're dedicated urologists and providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic who have done this day in and day out for the last decade, are there to provide seamless help for you. In other words, they're going to diagnose you, figure out what's going on in your body, take a little blood work, check out your T levels, check out some other things, and then they have a plan of action, a plan of success for you. Many men come in after perhaps their energy levels have been decreased over time. They feel like it's just middle-aged guys. It is time to feel amazing again. It's time to hit your goals again this year. It is time to get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. 2 convenient locations to serve you. One's in Cool Springs in Franklin. The other has been there for 10 years in Midtown. Would love for you to give them a call today at 615-208-9090. 208-9090, or go online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Oh, I'm so happy to see that Hillary Clinton is weighing in on the election. We'll tell you what old Hill had to say in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Once again, would love to see you at Nashville Palace tonight. It will be a big party, a big celebration. Can't wait to see all of you good folks. 8280, pardon me for this nonsense. I don't know what's popping up on my one of my biggest pet peeves in the world are websites that you go to that start audio. You know what I'm talking about? What are you laughing about?
Jason said, I did vote twice. I'm trying to save democracy from you librarians.
Good for you, Jason. You made Belle giggle. You done it there.
That was hilarious.
By the way, I was just today old when, you know how when people send you the, you're talking to people on the phone. I mean, do you use the emojis on your phone?
Yeah.
I use the emojis on my phone, sure. I spit the bit on emojis for a while, but I'm all in on emojis. You know, smiley face, smile to you, crying face,
I
laughy face.
probably use the thumbs up one more than anything because it's just a quick way to hit one button and say, okay.
That's exactly right. I use the thumbs up a lot, thumbs down a lot. I use the middle finger every once in a while. Someone just sent me an emoji of the little smiley face guy saluting, and on my phone, and maybe this is a testimony to my lack of vision, I always thought that was a smiley face with a big nose. I just learned that is, I feel stupid now. I just learned that's a smiley face emoji who's saluting.
Having that context, does it make more sense now?
Yes, a lot more sense. I didn't understand why I was getting the big nose. And it was, well, I'm just going to shut up now. It's 12:31 on Super Talk 99.7. I mean, literally, I've got to do this. 12:31, Super Talk 99.7, WTN, back after this. So most people believe that if you are, quote unquote, out of your enrollment period, your open enrollment, that there's nothing that you can do about your health care plan. Well, I'm here to tell you that Pat Davis is here to tell you that's not true. Pat Davis is your health plan man. He's at yourhealthplanman.com. And if you're enrolled in a plan that you don't care for, if you're paying too much money, maybe you don't have health insurance right now, may I make you aware of the Your Health Plan Man Freedom of Choice Plan. It is available right now to those who qualify. Your Health Plan Man's Freedom of Choice plan puts most of the coverage up front with no deductible. You pick your doctor. It's 30 to 60% lower in cost than Obamacare, and the plan is available year-round to those who qualify. The plans have nothing to do with your income. There's no surprise at tax time. So if you're paying more for your health insurance than you think you should, if you're on COBRA right now, or if you're uninsured, make the call that I made to help my wife with Pat Davis and his team at Your Health Plan Man. YourHealthPlanMan.com or 855-4-PLAN-MAN, 855-475-2662. Tell them that I sent you. I promise you, he is a concierge of healthcare. He will find a program and a plan that is right for you, and he will put together a low-cost alternative to what you have right now. It's YourHealthPlanMan.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. Let me tell you a quick backstory on Members Nutrition. The crew, the ownership group, they realized that we are over-drugged, sadly, from a pharmaceutical standpoint, and there are a lot of health and wellness benefits from vitamins and supplements that we're not taking advantage of in the United States. Plus, when you do have those vitamins and supplements at your fingertips, they're oftentimes more money than you need to be spending. Plus, many of those supplements that you find on the store shelves are sadly made overseas. Well, they've repaired so many of those issues with Members Nutrition. One, made right here in the USA, which is a good thing. Two, they're direct to you from their website. Therefore, they cut out the middleman and they sell them at a lower cost point than so many of the other box stores. Number three, these things work. I want to introduce you to the Youthful Cleanse. It is an incredible experience at cleansing the body of the toxins that clog up your system and make digestion of nutrients and digestion, generally speaking, a lot more difficult. So the benefits of the Youthful Cleanse are numerous. It boosts digestive performance. It detoxifies your body. It gets out the bad stuff, keeps in the good stuff, and gives you an ability to absorb the good stuff better than you have been. So take the first step toward improved digestive health with the Youthful Cleanse, brought to you by Daily Defense and Members Nutrition. Go to membersnutrition.com for more information. Tell them Murphy sent you to membersnutrition.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, celebrating Election Day today. It is our primary day here in the state of Tennessee and across the country, some 15 or so states. I think, am I right? Is it 15 or 16? Why do I not know this answer?
For some reason, I had it stuck in my head that it was 12, but I think you're right on the first one. I think it's 15.
I know that it's more than 12, but I don't know that it's quite 16. So we'll say somewhere in that range. One way or the other, there's a lot of states going to vote today. About a third of the total delegates are up for election. Look, and several of you are explaining to me that it's more important than I think who to vote
15.
for. Is it 15?
Yeah.
Some folks are explaining to me that it's actually more important than I think as to who to vote for delegate for the particular presidential selections. Okay, sure. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Not once have I worried about who the delegates are at the convention with regard to how they're going to act at the convention. They are expected to vote in a particular way, right? So I'm not going to be that worked up about it. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN if you have a thought on today's election process, or if you've gone to vote and want to tell a voter story, we'll take some of those as well. Former Secretary of State and United States Senator appeared on Mornings with Zerlina. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. A woman who was at one point considered by at least some to be one of the most powerful people in the world.
You lose one presidential race, and it's all downhill from there.
Just made an appearance on a show called Mornings with Zerlina on Sirius XM, where she discussed what she saw as the authoritarian threat of Trump. That's right, because that's what Trump's going to do. I love how the Democrats' main argument against Trump is now because they cannot make an argument that Joe Biden has done a better job as president, not any rational argument. I see some lying about the state of the economy, but we know that they're lying. The economy is not performing as well as it could. Our energy sector is sadly underperforming. Our manufacturing sector, underperforming. Our trade imbalance with China, growing. Southern border, porous. I mean, on and on it goes. Joe Biden's presidency, by any metric, has been an absolute disaster. So you will not see octogenarian or thereabouts Democrats running around touting the abilities or touting the victories of the Biden administration. Instead, they're going to talk negatively about Donald Trump and how he's an authoritarian, and if he ever gets power, he's not going to release it. Which is amusing because he was president before, and he did release power before.
And they were making that same claim back then.
And they were making the same claim then, that if Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to be an authoritarian and he's going to do blah, 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 and he's never going to give up power and all the military is going to be at his side and he's going to stay in the White House. And none of it ever happened. None of it. I mean, Hillary Clinton at one point, she could snap her fingers and I'd keel over dead, right? She was like Thanos in that movie. Whatever that was. What was that? Am I saying that right, Bell?
It's Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War.
Am I saying that right, though? He snapped his fingers and, like, people keeled over dead, right? It wasn't Spider-Man, he keeled over dead?
Half the heroes killed over dead, yes.
Okay. You're not going to tell me which half? You don't want to ruin it for anyone? What?
I don't have that list right in front of me right now.
Iron Man, he keel over dead?
Nope.
He made it through?
Yep. Till the end of Infinity War when he committed suicide stopping Thanos. Spoiler alert.
How dare you? I was going to watch it this weekend.
You weren't.
I was going to start from the beginning. So Hillary Clinton, who could snap her fingers, and, there goes Vince Foster, says people need to, quote, accept the reality that Joe Biden is old. What? So apparently on her visit on this radio show, Mornings with Zerlina, which if I had been a more industrious and motivated talk show host, I probably would have found this audio somewhere, but I'm not. She said, somebody said to me the other day, well, but Joe Biden's old. And I said, you know what? Joe Biden is old. Let's go ahead and accept the reality. Joe Biden's old. So we have a contest between one candidate who's old, but who's done an effective job and doesn't threaten our democracy. And we have another candidate who's old, barely makes sense when he talks, is dangerous, and threatens our democracy.
Which party was talking about how evil old white men are, though?
So I'm curious, who is this reaching outside of their most dyed-in-the-wool? I mean, the 20% that would vote for a scorpion over a Republican. Who are you trying to reach with this nonsense? These individuals, through Trump derangement syndrome, have driven themselves absolutely insane with this belief or suggestion of belief that if Donald Trump retains power, he's going to try to keep it somehow. They also have no other response, and no one that watches the two individuals with any rational sense would make the argument that Donald Trump is on the same mental plane as Joe Biden. Now, I understand that Donald Trump rambles. I understand that Donald Trump does not have a speech when he walks up to a podium at a rally and talks for an hour and a half. And sometimes, particularly when I was worried about his victory in 2016, and even beyond, sometimes it becomes a little cringy because you never know where the man's going. But here's what he does do. He goes to a rally, and he walks up to a microphone, and without essentially any prepared remarks, he talks to the crowd for an hour and a half about issues affecting the United States of America, and sometimes longer. It is sad to think that the only refuge the Democrats have with regard to Joe Biden's age and infirmity is the idea that, well, yeah, but Donald Trump is old too. When anyone contrasting the abilities of Joe Biden and what we see with Joe Biden on a daily basis and what we see with Donald Trump on a daily basis, I would suggest that Donald Trump, what is he, 77? 70s. I think he's 4 years younger than Biden, and Biden's 81. I think that's about right. At the age of 77, Donald Trump has more energy than most 50-year-olds. He's constantly on the go and drinks no caffeine, apparently. In the meantime, you contrast that with Joe Biden, who is seen at best 10 minutes on a daily basis, who has to have note cards to get through private meetings with one or two or three people because he can't keep up with one or two or three people on an issue that he's supposed to know everything about, right? I mean, he goes into these meetings to talk about particular things, singular things, and he cannot keep up with that meeting or those people without having note cards at his side. That's the leader of the free world, we're told. And all Hillary Clinton has to say about it is, oh, yeah, well, he's old too, and we just have to accept the reality that Joe's old. I don't think the Democrats are accepting any of this. As a matter of fact, what Hillary's reflecting on is a recent poll. A majority of Americans who voted for President Joe Biden in 2020 are now saying his age prevents him from being an effective president, according to a New York Times poll. Now, I'm not normally a poll guy because polling as a snapshot in time is just that, a snapshot in time. It can change rapidly. And I don't believe that there's necessarily any benefit for us taking a general election poll in March. I just don't. Because you got April, you got May, you got June, you got July, you got August. I mean, so many things can change between now and the general election. However, this poll is interesting to me because, A, it comes from the New York Times. Obviously, it is a leftist organization. B, 61% of 2020 Biden voters, these are not just registered voters, and there are no Republicans here. 2020 Biden voters surveyed, 61% told pollsters the current president is old enough that he can no longer do the job. 19% of those who supported him 4 years ago said he's too old to hold the position at all. 13% of respondents who plan to vote for Joe Biden in November believe the same way. You want to talk about an age problem. 45% of registered voters think Joe Biden's age is such a problem that he is not capable of handling the job of president of the United States. 45% of registered voters believe that.
Did you see the clip of reporters asking him about that poll?
I did not.
And he was talking about supposedly 5 other polls were saying that he was winning. And he said to the reporters, you guys need to stop reading the New York Times.
He told them that?
He told them that.
Okay. Johnny Mack says, I've heard Trump drinks about 20 Diet Cokes a day. I believe that Donald Trump only drinks caffeine-free Diet Cokes. I am almost 100%, but I will fact-check myself on that, Johnny Mack, and I'll get back to you momentarily. Plus your calls and your super texts from the Members Nutrition Super Text line 615-737-9986. It's 49 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is time, friends. Efficient Heating and Cooling knows that it's that time of year when the calendar flips from February to March, and I am here to tell you that it's time to make the call, the once-a-year call to get that AC checked to make sure it's running as it should before you begin running it in earnest this spring and into the summer. If you're trying to make a decision about whether to repair or replace your unit, you already know who to call. Jeff Eddy is the quality, reliable, and honest voice in this industry that will tell you what to do and when to do it. And you can trust that he's telling you the truth. He's not trying to upsell you on something. None of their folks work on commission. They don't do it that way. Plus, when Jeff tells you something, he wants to believe or wants you to know that you can believe that he's telling you the truth. It is his first responsibility in his line of work, 100% customer satisfaction. Secondarily, when it's time to replace, and that time will come, he wants you to know that he's got great people that he works with. He's a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric, an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, 2 great companies and great products that he can install in your home efficiently and as cheaply as possible and get you back running again. Your AC is important. Obviously, we live in the state of Tennessee. Let's make sure that it's running properly. He'll never charge you over $125 for a maintenance call, no matter how many units you might have. Give the call today, 615-784-4424, 4424. For efficient heating and cooling, efficienthvac.net. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How we doing over there on Facebook? Anybody? Is it still, mine seems to be working, but I don't know.
I just noticed your shirt and the flag behind you match.
Oh, thanks. I'm sporting my boys up there, the Sumner County Constitutional Republicans. My friends up there in Sumner County gave me this shirt, so there you go. Yeah.
We had to take our big banner out, the backdrop there, to use tonight at the Palace, and now we got the Gadsden flag up there.
Oh yeah, I keep threatening to get. I bought. So Pamela Furr and myself, and it was mostly Pamela, not me. It was my idea to get flags in here. Pamela talked to our friends over at the state capitol, and
Jack Johnson.
Well, I didn't know if he wanted to be named.
She's already named him on the air.
Oh, well, Jack Johnson helped us get some flags for the room. And then Hand brought in the Gadsden flag. And so I bought the flagpoles that our flags are on. Amazon.com. Delivered right to my door.
I need to get us one that's just the anarchy symbol. Put that in there.
Well, I've wondered for a while because somebody pinned up the Gadsden flag with little pins, and it keeps, anytime there's a guest in here, they knock it over, and it comes off the wall. And I'm thinking, well, surely someone else will, fork over a couple of bucks for another stand and get the stand in here. Nothing.
You are a man of great humor.
I mean, so should I buy the third stand? I don't feel like that's my responsibility. I think it's Hand. I feel like it's Hand's responsibility.
I don't think any of it was your responsibility, and you were very nice to do that. And the only reason to buy them is if it really bothers you in any way, shape, or form. Otherwise, I think we're fine.
I think it bothers my OCD quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's understandable.
But I do like it behind me, as we are sporting the Gadsden flag behind us in the absence of our banner that's normally the backdrop on Super Talk TV. If you want to see what we're talking about, Super Talk TV is available at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, if Facebook is operational, and I don't know if that's the case. Okay, so there is some debate, and I might be wrong, and look, Murphy's not wrong very often, but when I am ready, willing, and able to stand up and accept my punishment. So Donald Trump does not drink coffee, but he does drink Diet Coke. And there is internet debate about how much of that Diet Coke has caffeine in it versus how much does not. I've seen articles that suggest that Donald Trump goes caffeine-free Diet Coke, the gold can exclusively. I've seen others that suggest that he drinks about 12 Diet Cokes a day, and they're all caffeinated. I thought that I read somewhere that he went caffeine-free, but certainly I could be wrong. And then I saw this in my research, and I want to share it with you. In researching this matter, I saw this post from an unnamed individual. I used to drink tons of Diet Coke, but it's now been 1 month since I haven't had a drop. I want to share some of the changes I've observed in myself during that time. My health is unchanged. I'm less happy, and my one source of joy is gone.
That's brilliant.
Thank you for encouraging me on this journey. Indeed. Thank you, indeed. I'm going to have some caffeine. I'll be back with you for 2 more hours of what I hope to be talk radio excellence on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, here we go. It's hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being out there. It's 105 this afternoon. It is a rainy day. It is kind of one of those nasty days where the rain comes and goes, but it's dreary, it's overcast. It is also voting day in the state of Tennessee and all across the country, as 15 states are going to the polls in their primary elections to select a primary candidate of their choosing. And we will cover it comprehensively for you all day long and into the night tonight as we gather together at Nashville Palace, and we certainly hope that you are joining us this evening. Nashville Palace is the location. Roughly 6 o'clock is the beginning of the showtime. I imagine doors are opening up a little bit earlier than that. I know Brian Wilson will be out there doing his entire show from 3 until 7. Let us know you're coming at 997WTN.com, and you're in the running for a massive hot chicken and barbecue tailgate package for about 25 people. All of this is brought to you by the Glock store at shoe270.com, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and membersnutrition.com. We'd love to see you. It is free to get in, and there's food and drink available for purchase. Join Dan, myself, Chris Hand, and Brian Wilson for a night of fun conversation as we watch some of the election results come in. Really not a lot of question about how this is going to go. Donald Trump will solidify his hold on the Republican Party primary selection. Joe Biden will do the same in his party. Really, the only question will be whether or not Joe Biden gets replaced at convention time. Some are suggesting that that is the plan. I've been saying since 2 Aprils ago. April of 2022 is when I proclaimed on these airwaves that Joe Biden would not be the nominee. And I'm not pretending like I was that much ahead of the curve. I mean, come on, folks. We know how this guy's been sliding off his cracker for a long time now, right? I thought that it would come earlier than this. I believed, especially considering, and I will admit this to you, I believed especially considering his lack of performance as president and his obvious mental infirmity, his obvious dementia, the obvious fact that he is slowly but surely walking into the winter season of his public life. I thought that Joe Biden would have left before now and announced that he was not running for re-election, opening the field to other Democrats. He has not done so. So now the suggestion is being made, and I would share this suggestion, I would share this opinion, I should say, that the Democrats will allow the primary. The Democrats don't really care how people vote. I believe that with my heart and my soul. They just want power any way necessary. And based on that reasoning, I believe that the Democrats will wait until their convention in order to effect a change in their candidate. And you can easily do that at you can do it more easily at the Democrat convention than you can at the Republican convention because their delegates are less bound to vote for the individual voted on by the individual states in their primary sessions. Their rules are different than Republican rules. That said, they can also uniformly change it if Joe Biden is infirm enough at that time that he makes an announcement that he's not going to be able to make it. So there are those considerations to make. And obviously, a lot of folks voting today. I voted earlier in Mount Juliet. Have no idea how many people voted before me, but there was a good number of people in the voting places in Mount Juliet and some of the other places that I drove by as I was getting into town. Sumner County, Tennessee, specifically Hendersonville is where I want to go next. This is just such a sad story, and it's turning sad for, I think, a different reason. I'm going to attempt to do my best to withhold thoughts or theories that I might have about the case. But sadly, we're beginning to get to a point in the story that I'm about to tell you that we have to ask ourselves, was foul play involved? And it is the story of Sebastian Rogers. Many of you have probably seen it on your televisions. If you've not heard about it, we've been reporting on it for the better part of 8 days now, I guess it is. Sebastian Rogers is the teenager who is autistic, who has been missing for over a week now. The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers walked away on his own sometime Sunday night into Monday morning. But the fact that he has disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking at the real possibility of foul play. And we've not talked about it at length. We've made mention of it on a couple of occasions because when something like this happens, obviously the hope is that you find Sebastian safe and sound. Sebastian's mother and stepfather have now broken their silence, talking about how he disappeared from their home overnight a week ago Sunday. The two individuals spoke on a YouTube podcast called Missing Tennessee with Duchess. I have no idea what the podcast is. I have no idea who Duchess is. I'm reporting from a News Channel 5 story about the matter. The mother says that she woke up to get him up for school Monday morning, and he was not there. And according to the stepfather, he says between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., he basically vanished. He walked out of the house, the door was locked, he was gone. So what we believe has happened in the case, or at least what the story from the family is that young Sebastian Rogers, at some point, the mother was there by herself. The stepfather was out of town. And the father lives in Clarksville. I believe that's right. Apparently, the father has been in town every day, took off time from work, and has been assisting in the effort to find Sebastian since Sebastian was reported missing. Authorities, for their part, have remained relatively quiet, not even relatively, very quiet on the case, saying that the parents have fully cooperated with all of the investigations, obviously, but now they are beginning to shift from a search and rescue to more of a criminal investigation or criminal-style investigation. And most of this has to do with what they don't know. In the neighborhood where young Sebastian lives, there are plenty of other houses. There are plenty of other ways where he would be sighted on security camera. Do you know how difficult it is if you live in a neighborhood not to get sighted on a security camera if you just walk out of the neighborhood in 2024? Ring doorbell cameras that pick up motion detectors, and the like, other types of security cameras that aren't Ring but are of Ring style. And however, authorities and detectives are asking for the public to provide any Ring camera video that they might have, not just from Sunday evening, the night that the boy disappeared, but also anything that you can find on your Ring that might be suspicious, not just from that day, but from the day before or even the day before that. And I think there's a reason that they're doing that. Anyone with information on the case, by the way, just to throw this out at you, 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FIND. I don't know that I have anything else to say about it because I don't want to say anything that's going to seem like I'm leaning in any particular direction. I believe in the responsibility that we have as a community-based radio station to try to keep out of that. At the same time, it's a horrible situation regardless of what happened. This young boy, 15 years old, I believe, autistic. I have a difficult time let's just say this. I have a difficult time believing that if it was as simple as a 15-year-old autistic teenager deciding that he's going to get up, leave his house, lock the door behind him, not take any of his things with him, and just walk away, I have a difficult time believing that at some place in that neighborhood, someone would have not picked up something on security footage that would have indicated the direction that he was going.
Does the article or any of the information say if he's nonverbal or not?
You know, I've not heard that. I get the indication that he is verbal. just from news reports that I've seen over the course of the week, but I've not seen that.
Okay, I was just curious because it seems like if there was foul play and somebody was trying to get him into a car or something like that, you would need to have some ability to communicate back and forth to try to make that happen, unless you were just being violent.
I mean, yeah. I mean, according to Jason, he is a high-functioning autistic child. So if that is the case, one would think that he is verbal. I understand that he doesn't live in a neighborhood, 3776. I'm not suggesting that he lives in some sort of closed-off neighborhood area. I would suggest that I just believe that in 2024 that we would have some indication on cameras and whatnot where he went. Now, maybe, and I've not seen this, and toward your point, 3776 on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, that, I mean, if he backs up to wood, I know that there's a wooded area that they're searching. I understand that there's a huge wooded area. But in today's world, it is difficult to get. I mean, if I wanted to, I find that it would be difficult for Matt Murphy to get from Mount Juliet to, for example, Bell's house over in Madison without being seen. To get very far anyway, and considering the amount of search that they've done, once again, I'm not suggesting anybody did anything. I am telling you that it looks more like something happened to him, sadly, rather than he simply decided to vanish on his own. It just feels fishy. And I don't know of any better way to say it. Anna is in Franklin with a thought on this. Hello, Anna. Good afternoon.
Hi. I saw some information on him the other day, pictures with teachers, pictures with other students. He has a very, very high level of learning, sociability. He has a high level of communication. For autistic, he's way at the top and involved in a lot of things. So, I would say he's different than a lot of autistic children that could be led away. I can't figure either. They had pictures. He's well liked. He was included in things. So, I mean, yes, he can speak. He does have the ability to interact. That was your question.
Yes, ma'am. It was. And I thank you for answering that.
Okay.
All right. Take care, Anna. Thank you for the call, and thank you for giving us the answer to our question. Yes. So. And I'm hearing from a lot of people who have been following the story over the last 8 days or so. I mean, it's just very, very sad, regardless of what the outcome might be. It's a very sad story that we're monitoring, and you want to hope for the best. Obviously, in the initial days, I failed, and actually, E admonished me. She said, "You need to talk about this to draw awareness to it, so we can find this child alive." And as quickly as possible, you need to do that. And so I tried to remember to mention it last week. I mentioned it, I guess, Thursday or Friday of last week, but it was just a mention because you don't know. You don't know in these circumstances exactly what you're dealing with. What you hope is that you're dealing with a child that simply wandered away and is to be found somewhere in the woods and reunited with his loving family, and that's that. But now that the areas have been searched to the level that they've been searched, you begin to wonder if something else is going on. That's natural. I hesitate to go any further down the speculative rabbit hole because I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't want to draw conclusions. And I don't want to point fingers at people that can't handle it. But they've had dogs out there. They've had a lot of people canvassing that area out in Hendersonville. And frankly, Steve just writes in on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, and I was thinking the same thing too, Steve. You get those bloodhounds on the case, and you give them something from the house that is, I mean, if we are to believe, and I will talk about this, if we're to believe that he just disappeared, and he didn't take a car, obviously, he just walked away from the home. Well, at the time that the family reported him missing last Monday, between then and the time that they got dogs out and the dogs get on that scent, you give the dogs a good scent from his room and then you send them on their way, they ought to be able to pick that scent up and follow it. And the fact that the dogs could not pick up the scent, I just have a really bad feeling about this.
The first thing that jumps to mind is he got in a car and was driven off.
Right. If there's no scent. And I don't know, JB says bloodhounds only incorporated a week after the child disappeared. I don't know when they started. I don't know when they got the bloodhounds out there. I don't think it was a week. And yes, rain can affect the ability of a bloodhound to have a scent. It's just giving me bad feelings all the way around. So I pray for. I'll tell you what, I pray for Sebastian Rogers that he is found and that somehow he is found okay. It's 1:22. We'll take some more of your calls on this, 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show on Super Talk. All right, friends, it's time for you to examine your home. I know maybe you don't want to do that, or maybe you want to avoid it if you think you know what you're going to find. But if you think that you have foundation issues, if you think that you have water issues in your home, maybe there's a musty smell, there's mold or mildew, there's a problem in your basement or your crawl space. Friends, it is time to get with USS. They are the best. United Structural Systems. When they come to your home, you're getting problem solvers who provide you peace of mind. Sometimes they look at the customer and say, you're A-okay. You're all good. And you know what? That's a wonderful feeling to go to bed tonight, knowing that the foundation of your house is A-okay and issues that you thought you might have are not issues involving waterproofing or foundation. But sometimes they'll tell you what you need to hear with regard to how to repair the issues that you're dealing with. It is waterproofing season right now at USS, meaning a lot of this rain that comes in causes the ground to swell, ground to expand. That saturates, and that tends to leach where? Into your basement or your crawl spaces if you don't have the proper waterproofing right there in your home. If you don't, you'll know it. And if you know it, you need to make the call to USS. They guarantee their best. USS. They've been around since 1994. Been doing it the right way since then. Give them a call at 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS. Online, as always, at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Sebastian Rogers missing. The family calls him Bubba, we're told. And despite the rallying cry from the entire community in Metro Nashville, hundreds within the community of Hendersonville gathered together. They prayed for the 15-year-old, and they searched assisting officials for the 15-year-old. They've been unable to find any trace of Sebastian in the days since his disappearance. Obviously, the family has been in constant communication with officials, but they have not spoken out with media until just 24 or so hours ago when they spoke to a social media platform, a podcast page. The family of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, a.k.a. Bubba, they're now talking as Sumner County officials have announced that they're scaling back their search and rescue efforts, and they are refocusing it as an investigation. According to Sumner County Sheriff Chief Deputy Eric Craddock, he said, "We've conducted an extensive and exhaustive search around the home, looking for any evidence, any trace of Sebastian. At this time, the decision's been made to scale back on the ground search operations. Let me be clear, it does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive." Officials are maintaining a, quote, planned response in case there are any reported sightings. Meanwhile, Sebastian's mother, Katie Proudfoot, said in a live-streamed interview yesterday that we just referenced that we love you and we want you to come home. It's simple. This boy has a very large family. According to his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you. Please come home. As time goes on, the possibility of this ending in tragedy goes up. Billy is next up in Nashville with a thought on this. Hey, Billy, glad you called.
Hey, man, I just want to know why, and I know they have the capability because I used to be real close to the police department and everything in the state of Tennessee. Why have they not used those helicopters with the thermal that can pick out thermal images? Because they use those to basically go over and pick out a marijuana.
Yeah, they can find little marijuana fields with those thermal images.
Yeah. Why that would be the first thing I would put up if a child went missing.
Well, have you heard something that they have not used that? Because I don't know that they haven't.
Well, they haven't said they have, and they haven't said anything about it. And the thing about it is they could more directly call out areas to where they get thermal images that the people that are searching could go directly to and save time.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope. I've not heard any specifics about what they have or have not used. You would hope, obviously, that they've used every resource as a possible mechanism by which to find him, Billy. But I've not heard that they have. I mean, I would assume, Billy, that they have used thermal imaging. They're using drones. I know that. One would assume that they're also, if they have the thermal, they're using it. It's on a helicopter and a drone. I mean, I think you could put the thermal on drones as well. So I would believe that they've used infrared and that thermal technology. And a lot on the Members Nutrition Super text line are saying the same thing. They did use helicopters. I know that. They've used drones. I know that. And I would just assume that they're not necessarily making all of that information available to us because they have done so. But I would suggest that they've done so. Lindsay is next up in Pleasant Valley. Hello, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
I happen to have a 19-year-old autistic teenage boy, and he's, quote, high-functioning autism. And my first thoughts in the first place was that this should be an investigation. It's a missing child. I know my son does not like changes in his schedule at all, like Rain Man. At first I thought if he did run off for a minute, he's going to think he's in trouble. And I guarantee wherever he is, he probably thinks he's in trouble. And although he can communicate, he is high-functioning. If he gets really flustered or upset, He really can't. He just puts his head down and shakes his head and says, I can't, and mutters and stutters. I don't know what kind of stress this kid is under. My prayers have been with him this whole time, but I don't see any possible way. I wonder what his computer usage has been. I think he must have gotten into a car, or he'd have been caught by the bloodhounds or the ring cameras or somebody. He'd have come home by now. I'm wondering if somebody enticed him, some kind of creeper, online. I know my son, although we were careful with what he watched online and who he corresponded with.
Well, according to, and I'm just looking at this right now, Lindsay, according to Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather, he said that he and the mother are strict about his usage of the internet, and they do not allow Sebastian to use social media or an unmonitored phone. So.
Well, that is definitely good news. That only leaves me to think, I'm hoping that instead of some creeper, maybe there's some sort of hidden custody battle we don't know about, and he's safe and sound with some uncle, but I don't want to speculate either.
That's right. I mean, the most important thing is to find the young man safe and sound. We don't want to go to places, you know, there are dark thoughts that we have about situations like this, especially now that it's been 8 days. And, I mean, that's just a fact. Thank you, Lindsay, for the call. You don't want to go to those places when you don't have to. I'm being very cautious about speculating on anything else because I don't want to lay blame at people's feet who deserve no blame, because if that's the case, I understand human nature. I understand where we naturally go. I mean, I watch Dateline too, right? I mean, we all watch these shows. I understand the natural inclination to go in the direction of a stepfather or a mother in this case, absent any other evidence of Sebastian. But for a moment, consider if it's not the pain and torment that is causing on the family members themselves. They say that they've already been harassed online, harassed on a variety of social media platforms with regard to the belief that they have been involved in some way. And I'm just here to tell you, I understand that it makes for good radio or good podcast to walk down this speculative trail and talk about what could be or what could not be. I just don't, I'm just not comfortable with that. And 95.93 says it was reported on this very radio station, Supertalk 99.7 WTN, that they did use infrared. I missed that report, and I apologize. But thank you for updating us on it, 95.93. I do appreciate that. It's 1:34, Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis
Hey
here.
friends,
Got my
it's Matt
first
Murphy.
shipment of
I want to talk
emergency
to you
food
for a
from
moment
My
about Dr.
Patriot
Stephen
Supply.
Poss
Gonna
and the
make
Sleep
these
Apnea
pancakes.
and
Now you
TMJ
prepare and cook
Solutions
them
Center.
just like
I am
regular
not
pancakes.
just an endorser
but thanks
of
to
Dr.
the special
Poss, I'm also
packaging,
a
they
client.
last for 25
I was unaware
years.
of my sleep
so
apnea
when
until
things
recently,
go
and now I
wrong,
know
you
that I
are
have
eating
sleep
right
apnea.
with
And
My
honestly,
Patriot
a form of sleep
Supply. And
apnea
yes, they
that doesn't
taste
present
great.
itself
Now,
with a
every
lot of
week,
snoring. I
I'm
snore
going to
just a little bit at
introduce you
night,
to different
but it's not a
foods.
massive
My
amount of
Patriot
snoring.
Supply
So
is
that
America's most
is something to
trusted
think about
supplier
if you are
of
considering whether or not
emergency
you have
food.
mild
Head on
to
over
moderate sleep
to
apnea
my
as well.
website, preparewithmandis.com.
And you are CPAP
right
intolerant,
now and
I have
see
news
all
for you.
the
There is an
different
appliance
foods
that
they
I now
have
use
and
to
all the
sleep
great
at night
specials as
that
well.
I strongly
That's
recommend from Dr. Stephen Poss and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. It can help you snore less by opening up the airways and helping you breathe throughout the course of the night. 25% of adults have sleep apnea, and most of the adults that do, like me, are unaware of it. Now I'm aware of it, and I'm also aware of this. If you have BCBS, that's Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, or TRICARE for the military, then you're in network with Dr. Poss, and you need to talk to him about that as well. 2 convenient offices to serve you. One's in Brentwood, the other's in Murfreesboro. Dr. Poss has advanced training and teaches others regarding sleep apnea, and it's time to get with the best. Get with Dr. Poss and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center by going to drposs.com, drposs.com. Tell him Matt Murphy sent you. Mark at the Safe House wants to see you. They're conveniently located on 4th Avenue South, downtown Nashville. I would love for you to go over to see Mark as well. Why? Because he sells the things that helps protect you and your family. I'm talking safes. I'm talking about gun safes, jewelry safes, corporate safes, safes for your valuables in your home that you want to protect from theft or fire. Whatever your need might be, they have a safe for you at Nashville Safe House. They have so much selection that they have a warehouse on top of their warehouse. I mean, you go in, beautiful lobby. There's the employee of the year, Joe Biden. Mark's a funny guy. But then you walk into the, quote, warehouse, and you'll see an incredible amount of safes in stock right there on their showroom floor, over 200 of them. But then you ask Mark, hey, Murphy told me that you have almost 600 safes. That's when he tells you about the additional warehouse on top of this warehouse that he has to warehouse all the safes that he can't put on the showroom floor. Bottom line is this. He's got a safe for you, whether it's Browning, Fort Knox, Rhino, doesn't matter. He's got it at a low price point. He charges delivery for his safes because he hires the people that deliver it. He doesn't get them off the street. And sales tax free on gun safes at the Safe House. Go by and see him or online at NashvilleSafehouse.com, NashvilleSafehouse.com, on the road, 4th Avenue South in Nashville. It is election day in the state of Tennessee and in 14 other states around these United States of America. We have our big event coming up tonight and would love to see you at the Nashville Palace. Starts at 6 o'clock. We'll be there a little earlier than that. I'm trying to implore Mac Morey to get out. I know that I can't get Bell K. I know I can't hook Bell K, but I'm trying to hook Mac Morey in some form or fashion. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I also don't think that either of them are listening to me. Otherwise, they would have perked up by now. But they're just over there in the other room doing their own thing. That's all good. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN if you'd like to get in on the super text line, or that's the Members Nutrition super text line, or you can give us a call. I'm sorry, I'm doing a little technical repair. Yeah, I got it. We're talking Sebastian Rogers, and a lot of you on the super text line are weighing in on that. Danny writes in and says, what I don't understand about the child missing case, he was reported to be last seen leaving the house around midnight wearing dark clothes and a flashlight. The mom said she left. What is that report? Mac Morey, do you know? What is that? So I have not heard about the dark clothes and a flashlight report. That came, but I thought the mom didn't know exactly when he left. I thought that was the case. I thought the mom said that all she knew is that he was in bed Sunday night and that she went to wake him up Monday morning and that he wasn't there. I thought that was the mother's statement to the police.
Yeah, her statement was that she woke up and within 3 minutes of waking up, she knew that Sebastian was not in the house. Now, that report did come out. That was reported for days. He was last seen wearing black, carrying a flashlight. That was the report that gone out.
Who saw? Do we know?
That's a good question.
So we don't know who offered that initial report.
Correct.
Okay, so the possibility is that the story changed. The possibility is that someone offered that sighting, and now they're not saying anything about it. So, Danny, you're right on target. You've been listening and keeping up with it a little bit better than me, as a matter of fact. And I admit that I was a little late to getting to the case. So he was reported last seen leaving the house around in the dead of night wearing dark clothing and a flashlight. The mom said she saw him at 9 when she went to bed. And when she got up, she noticed within 3 minutes he was missing. So who saw him at midnight, and why did they let him leave? That's a great question. Brent wants to know, how did they know he had a flashlight? We don't know, because we don't know who reported that initially. And I just know that sometimes in the initial reporting phase that there's misinformation, and I don't want to be guilty of that 8 days in. So the father apparently said that they need to look at the stepdad last week. I understand that. And once again, I'm going to let authorities figure that out. I mean, I don't know that it does us any good outside of saying that we want to do our dead level best to get Sebastian home safe and sound. And we have to trust that authorities are gathering information that if this does come down to the worst case scenario, that Sebastian is no longer with us, that they're putting together the information that's going to lead us to those who are responsible for whatever it was that happened to Sebastian. I don't think we need to go there quite yet, though. I think we need to continue to hope that Sebastian's going to be found safe and sound. I mean, there are possibilities out there, obviously, that if there was some sort of dispute from a custody standpoint, maybe there's something going on there. Perhaps Sebastian just decided he was going to get out of the situation he found himself in. It was going to, quote unquote, disappear. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's better than some of the alternatives 8 days in. 8602, that was my thoughts. Who knew he was out there and did not stop him? You know, I don't know. And one would think that if this was a neighbor or someone else that made the report, that we would find that out. Carl said, well, you know, doorbell camera leaving. I don't know. I've not seen anything about doorbell cameras or ring cameras or that sort of thing. I do know that the police officers in the case have begged that if you have anything that you see that is suspicious, that if you've noticed anything, if you have footage, video surveillance footage from anywhere over the course of that weekend, they're saying Saturday or Sunday, to include Sunday night, they are asking for your help in trying to track down where exactly this young man would be. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Chris writes in and says, I wish Bell would show up tonight. I met him once at Bold Patriot Brewing, which is now the new Baseline Brewing. They rebranded their location at L&L Market. I wish that Bell would show up too. I've offered to pay for his dinner. I don't think I've made that offer for tonight, Bell. Bell, I'll pay for your dinner tonight if you show up at the Nashville Palace, whatever it is
that's
they're
really
serving.
Nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't expect that I'm going to have to pull out the wallet to pay for anything, but, remains to be seen. Matt, I believe that he was also reported to be barefoot when he left, praying for Sebastian. We all are praying for Sebastian. Yeah, I mean, it would get pretty cold barefoot, no coat. Obviously, that's a concern. So when I started paying attention to this case around Wednesday or Thursday, my wife actually alerted me to the case. Have you heard about the missing boy? So for some reason, there was a gap and I missed it. And this was of last week, of course. So I guess I missed the initial report that he was barefoot and that they found him, or that he was seen wearing dark clothing and a flashlight. But I've not seen anything of that of late. One would hope that the police officers have done a full and thorough interview session, or several of them, with all of the family members, because obviously, I mean, sad as it is to say, that's the first place you look. Cliff is next in Nashville. Cliff with a thought on this situation. Hey, Cliff, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Going on with this, my oldest son is autistic, on the higher end of the spectrum as well. And, the woman a couple of months ago mentioned about, her son, they get frazzled or upset. They literally shut down. And, they do. They literally hide their head and shake. And my son would have never gone outside at night at all. He would have been in his room and stayed there. Because they're a creature of habit. If I took him on a drive and I deviated from the normal route, he would melt down. It would freak him out so bad. So, it's just odd that he would go out by himself without any, one with him. So, I don't know. Yeah, I hope he's alive. I hope they find him soon, because he's going to be awfully cold with all this weather that's going to happen.
There's no question. Cliff, thank you for the call. One of the issues involving this case is the word autistic, because it means so many different things to so many different people, because we live in a day and age. I'm not creating a value judgment about it. I'm just suggesting that it is what it is. In other words, I'm not judging this. I'm observing it. That autistic oftentimes means to the individual speaking whatever they experience with the personality of the individual closest to them that has been diagnosed with autism.
And that's exactly what informed my question to you earlier, was I know that a lot of autistic kids are nonverbal, but that didn't apply to him.
Right. There are some people that you'll meet that at one point in my lifetime, we would have referred to as, oh, well, he's just kind of quirky. Or, he's an odd bird, we would say. I didn't mean anything by it, but that's the way you would say it. And nowadays, we know those people to be, or believe them to be, quote unquote, autistic. But autistic means so many different things to so many different people. Sometimes there are very high functioning individuals that have been diagnosed with autism. Other times, individuals are completely and totally nonverbal. Once again, I think oftentimes when we think of autism, we're thinking about the person that is closest to us with autism. And there are so many different types of autistic people on the spectrum, it's difficult to pinpoint what exactly that means, except that we know that Sebastian Rogers was autistic. However, we are told that he was high functioning, that he was verbal, that he could easily communicate with individuals and that sort of thing. Andrea is next in Lebanon with a thought on this. Hey, Andrea, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Driving in this storm, so I'm trying to be careful and I'll be quick. The impression I got from the interview with the mother, I think how they determined he was barefoot was she accounted for all his shoes and nothing was missing. In regards to the flashlight, they were like doing an inventory of his things to see what wasn't there or what was. And the impression I got that he had a flashlight that he always used and it was gone. So I think, again, the impression I got, they're assuming that he has the flashlight because the flashlight wasn't accounted for.
So it's not so much that someone saw him with a flashlight or saw him leaving the house with no shoes on. It's that they've kind of they've walked it back. They've looked at the shoes, looked at what they knew him to have in his room, and those missing items unaccounted for, they're going to assume that he took with him.
Right, kind of process of elimination. Yeah. Like his cell phone was there, this was there. all his shoes were there, and apparently the only thing missing was a flashlight that he used, liked all the time, something of that nature. That's the impression I got. I could be wrong, but in listening, I work for a sheriff's office, and in listening, that was what I concluded.
I'm glad you called, Andrea. Thank you for it, and thank you for the information. I need to watch this. I guess I need to watch this interview with the mother. So that clears up that. As I learn new things about the case, along with you, that apparently the mother says that it was through process of elimination. According to Andrea, who listened to the podcast, through process of elimination, that they discovered that the young man was barefoot because all of his shoes were accounted for. So obviously, if he's not there, then he would be barefoot if he left the whole home on his own. And according to the mother, who was the only one at the house on that evening in question, he had to have left by himself because she did not take him anywhere. They also reported that the doors, when she got up in the morning, were locked, which adds to the level of mystery. It's 1:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
2 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Currently 63 degrees on Music Row, experiencing some light rain here off and on throughout the day. And it looks like it could be a wet week ahead of us. Weather forecast coming up in 2 minutes. No ceasefire agreement yet between Israel and Hamas. Talks with Hamas in Cairo ending today. No breakthrough. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby today says it's up to Hamas to make a move.
What we're looking for and what we want, temporary ceasefire for about 6 weeks. That'll allow us to get more aid in and, more importantly, get all those hostages back with their families where they belong and reduce the violence. That's the deal on the table. And as the president also said today, it's a rational deal. And the Israelis have been cooperating. They have been negotiating in good faith on this. It's time for Hamas to step up to the plate, take a swing, and let's get this thing done.
Kirby says they're still negotiating. They're trying to get there. A fatal plane crash in Tennessee. A single-engine plane crashed last night on the side of I-40 West in Nashville, ending the lives of 5 people on board. The small plane, registered in Canada, was headed to John Tune Airport after departing from Mount Sterling, Kentucky, when it went down in a ball of fire along I-40 behind the Costco and Charlotte Pike. Here's the audio right before that crash.
Yes, I have the runway in sight. November 5 Alpha Tango, runway 2, clear to land. I'm too far away, I won't make it.
At this time, the names and ages of those people killed have not been released. Both the NTSB and the FAA are in Nashville today conducting their investigations. That's the latest news. Got a weather forecast next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here for the Mill Creek View, Tennessee podcast. I talk with Steve Abramowitz quite often. I like Steve a lot. He is located in Franklin and throughout the state of Tennessee, throughout the United States of America. He broadcasts on the Mill Creek View, Tennessee podcast. And I encourage you to go and check it out. It's not just politics, although obviously they're doing a lot of political type things, especially during this election year. They also talk to various entertainers, cultural figures, artists, and the like. Frequently the number one show in politics on Podomatic. You can find them on Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and all of your favorite podcast apps. I know I head over to their website, mcview.us, on a regular basis, mcview.us, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Find out that Steve Abramowitz, the editor and CEO of the Mill Creek View newspaper, is all about. With Mill Creek View and the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast, I encourage you to stop by there today. All right, cranking up hour number 3, the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Check. Hello. It is 4 minutes after 2 o'clock. Glad to have you with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 8099 is talking my language. What time does the party start tonight? night. The party officially gets underway at 6 o'clock. I think the doors will probably open a little bit before that at Nashville Palace, but not a lot before because we want to make sure that we see you. It's a free event, Nashville Palace, tonight, broadcasting live as the results come in. We'll be on air for at least an hour or so. I believe Brian's doing his complete show until 7 o'clock tonight from the Palace. We'll talk with Brian about that at 2:35 this afternoon as we do another check-in, a Race to the White House check-in. But you can be there. If you register online, you don't have to register, but if you let us know you're coming online, then you're in the running for a hot chicken and barbecue tailgate package for about 25 people. So this thing is massive. But just come on out, have a beverage of your choosing, adult or otherwise, have some food, and enjoy the camaraderie and the friendship at Nashville Palace with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis will be there. Matt Murphy will be there. I'll be the one hugging on Dan. I'm going to give him a big old Dan Mandis hug. Chris Hand will be there. He's the pretty one. Brian Wilson is the tall one. I'm the ugly one, and Dan is the short one. So there you go. And now you know who fits where in this grand scheme of things. The Glock store at shoot270.com bringing you this, as well as Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and membersnutrition.com. We thank those guys. So doors open at before 6, but the party gets going at 6 o'clock. 7736 says, I will never vote again. And they're saying that just that way on the super text line. Can I offer some suggestions for our beloved super texters on the Members Nutrition super text line? Context helps. I understand that texting is more of a one-on-one communication, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And oftentimes, because we get so many super text in, I could see your super text, and if you're referencing something, I don't necessarily know exactly what you're referencing because we talk about so many things on the show on a regular basis. So if you say something along the lines of "you said it," I don't know what you're talking about because I say a lot of things.
And often.
Loudly. So I don't know why you will never vote again, 7736, but I would love to know. Chris writes in and says, Chris Hand said you're short, Matt. Am I shorter than Hand? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not much shorter than Chris Hand.
Yeah, you're not. I was going to say. And I see the two of you standing next to each other in that room all the time, and now I can't even. I
think I'm probably a little bit shorter than Hand. I call myself 5'11 and a half. I used to call myself 6 foot, but I don't like to lie, and I'm not. So I'm about 5'11 and a half. But yes, we will be broadcasting beyond 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know how late it's going to go, but I think we're going 7 to 8 at least to offer some results from the East Coast and from Middle America. I seriously doubt that we will get to the West Coast. Because they're not closed until, 9 o'clock at night or something like that, our time. So there you go. Kathy says, Matt, you're not ugly. Until Chris Hand started there, you were the pretty one. Oh, I don't know how to take that. I'm going to take it as a nice compliment, Kathy. Thank you. You're very sweet. Hope to see you tonight. No, I like to say that I've got a face made for radio, and I certainly add to that aura with the weirdo beard that I like to carry around so people think that I'm homeless. So you'll find me there. I'll be the ugly one. Brian is the tall one. Mandis is the short one. And Chris Hand is the pretty one. I might, in that spirit, I might start referring to Chris as Pretty Boy Hand. Like Pretty Boy Floyd, Pretty Boy Hand. Yeah. All right, I want to get to these calls real quick to kind of close the door on, at least for today, this subject of the missing young man, Sebastian Rogers. And then we need to play an episode of Murphy's Court because I need to know if I'm guilty of anything or if I am going to be exonerated by
you're
the
guilty.
jury. By the jury of my peers. You're a jury of my peers. You can't make
You're guilty.
You can't pre-decide. You'll get kicked off the jury.
I don't even know what you're being charged with, but you're guilty.
Well, I don't think I did anything wrong in this case. But before we do that, let's talk to Lisa, who is in Hendersonville, with a thought on the young missing autistic boy, Sebastian Rogers. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hi, great. Love your show.
Thank you.
I just have a couple of thoughts. After listening to the interview, a couple of things pop out to me. One, the stepfather saying that he just wants him to walk through that door. And the mother also saying 3 minutes. When people tend to lie, sometimes they get into where it could have been 5 minutes, but she's stuck with this 3 minutes. And also with the doors locked, I really feel, and the dogs not being able to pick up the scent from the door out to the driveway, anywhere to the front, makes me believe, I really believe he was killed in that home and then taken out at some point. I'm not sure if maybe the mom doesn't even know. Maybe the stepfather did it. Maybe they both know. But just a couple of those things really popped out to me just in the past of hearing some of the stories through the years. That interview, a couple of things like I just told you, when the parents would say stuff like that, came out to be that they were the ones that actually did it. So that's all I have to say, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I mean, obviously, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. We are not in a court of law in as much as we don't have to necessarily, as a community, prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And in a court of law, you are deemed to be innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The court of public opinion is different than a court of law. And so obviously Lisa offering her opinion about what she has witnessed in her life, balancing that against what she has seen in terms of the situation that we're dealing with. That said, I have every faith in the world that law enforcement officials are investigating every angle and every possibility. And the more the days go on, the more the questions don't get answered, the more speculation is going to land on certain family members. That's just the way that it is in the court of public opinion. And Lisa, I would be lying if I did not tell you that I had some of those same thoughts. I've not seen this interview with the mother and the stepfather. I will be watching that at some point tonight or in the morning as we continue to hope and pray that Sebastian is found safe and sound. I don't pretend to know what, if any, involvement. And I just want to make clear, Lisa is entitled to her opinion. I don't pretend to know any involvement and wouldn't suggest that there's any involvement without having additional information with the family members. I understand where our heads go. Look, I'm as much of a fan of Keith Morrison on Dateline as anybody. But I'm going to let the investigatory process work itself out. The last thing I want to do is make and I'm not saying Lisa was doing this. She's offering her opinions and her speculation about the matter. However, I can't imagine if the family member had nothing to do with this, if the mother and stepfather had nothing to do with this. I understand that as time goes on, why people would speculate one way or the other. I'm just trying to lean on the idea that the last thing I want to do is put pain on a parent more so than they're already feeling by making them the target of a public lynching, a publicity lynching. I hope that makes sense. Angela's next in Nashville. Hello, Angela. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. You're up. Go right ahead, Angela. Thank you.
I absolutely hope they find this young man. But there is also a little girl. She is 7. She is missing in Murfreesboro.
Yes, ma'am.
There are no billboards. There's no talk show host about her. But she is still important, and we still need to get information out there about this little girl.
Well,
no drones,
absolutely.
No national service, no nothing. But she's still loved. She's still important, and she is still missing.
Well, tell me what you know about it, Angela. I'm happy to get the information out on our radio station. Tell me what you know.
Iris Crum. She's a 7-year-old little girl. She is an African-American little girl.
Okay. All right. You said it was Iris?
And Iris.
Okay.
IRIS. That's
All right.
what News Channel 4 has reported once. But she is in our area, and I am completely ashamed with the people in my area who went out to find this little white boy, but they are doing nothing to find this little girl. She is important, and she needs to be found as well.
Well, obviously, of course she is. And, of course...
Right, but you haven't reported on her, and she's been missing March 1st.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I did not know anything about her being missing.
Exactly. None of us knew anything about her.
Right, but now is your opportunity to tell us everything that we need to know about her so that we can get as much information out as possible, as opposed to accusing me of some or insinuating.
And can we please, in the future, all children missing are important.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Is there anything, ma'am, is there anything else you want to say about the little girl, Iris Crum?
You know, we have such little information because people like you haven't reported. That's all we got.
Ma'am, I'm happy to report on it, and I'm happy to provide any information possible about that little girl. And any
I would love to see that.
And any insinuation that you're making about reasons why I have not, if you're making an insinuation, let me just be clear. I'm not saying you are, but if you're making an insinuation that I was talking about Sebastian because he was white and I wasn't talking about Iris because she's black, you can go to hell. If you're making that if you are making that insinuation, then that is my response, because it seems like you are.
No insinuation, but it is what it is.
Well,
we have billboards for him,
and my response is what it is.
The National Guard out for him. We have nothing for her.
I'm attempting to give you the opportunity to share the information that you claim to want to share. So, and I've tried to be patient with you.
Matt, I've had a few people call in who say that Iris has been basically kidnapped by her own mother. She is a non-custodial parent and took the girl without permission.
Angela was too busy making accusations about me and other people, suggesting that we're talking about one because he's white and the other because she's black, which is a disgusting accusation. And I'm not going to get I'm trying to be patient as I possibly can, but I'm not going to sit here and be accused of being racist by somebody when all the information that she has is the name of the little girl and the age of the little girl. During the conversation, I pulled up the information and I was ready to present it. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an endangered child alert for a 7-year-old girl that was last seen on Saturday. Officials say they are looking for Iris Crum. Crum is 5 feet tall, 80 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. She was last reported seen March 1st Blue Fox Trail in Murfreesboro. They believe Crum is with her non-custodial mother, Kalia, Czereda, however you pronounce that last name. And that woman is a 30-year-old black female who is 5'6" and weighs about 140 pounds and has black hair and brown eyes. Now, either Angela knew that information and she was deciding not to report it, or she didn't know that information, which indicates to me that she's not that invested in finding the 7-year-old girl as she suggested that she was. I attempted to be nice to this woman who felt like we were being unfair reporting on one story and not reporting on another story. But I'm not going to sit around and have it thrown at my radio station or have it thrown in my face that I'm reporting on something because somebody's white or somebody's black, or not reporting on something because somebody's white and somebody's black. Thank you very much, Angela, and I stand by my comment. If that's your insinuation, you can go to hell. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk for a moment about your hair, because a lot of guys start losing it at some point in their lives. Now, I've not lost my hair. I'm 50 years old. I've been blessed in that regard. But the group at PAI Medical, Katie and Alex and the rest of the gang, they looked over me. They said, you know what? You've got a good and robust head of hair, but we want to keep it. We want to do the things necessary to keep it. And so I'm walking through my paces with my laser treatments at PAI Medical. I want to tell you all about it, and I want you to experience it as well. The multi-unit hair grafting procedure is something that I've seen done at PAI, and I'm excited to tell you about that as well. If you've lost hair, they're the only company in the state of Tennessee to have the multi-unit hair grafting procedure, which gives you more hair in one procedure, saves you time and money, and nobody else has it. It's backed by the only company that I trust to help thinning hair, and that is PAI and We Grow Hair. They've been in Nashville for over 26 years, and they've helped literally thousands of people just like you. Check out their website at WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com, or 615-376-6010. 376-6010. For your private consultation, it's We Grow Hair.
That investigation continuing into the fatal plane crash right off I-40 East behind the Costco and Charlotte Pike, gathering new information there. Plus, it's Super Tuesday. We got updates there, too. 2:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 2:25. Let me shift gears. In a moment, we're going to talk with Brian Wilson about the race to the White House and get his analysis as to what we can expect throughout the course of the day and into the evening as we gather together. We'll break bread. We'll have a drink or two, adult or otherwise, and we'll figure out where we're going from here on Super Tuesday. It is here. Man, March, and before you know it, it'll be summertime, and before you know it, it's November. I mean, time is just tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Okay. All right, Mac Moore's back, and
before you know it, you're going to be 60.
Thanks a lot, Bell. Appreciate that. And you'll...
Shut up. I'll come in there.
I don't think you're going to make it. I don't think you're going to make it. I think I'll make it. I don't know about Bell. Okay, so I want to play a little game. It's a new segment that we'll pull up from time to time on the Matt Murphy Radio Show, and I have decided to call it an edition, the premiere edition of Murphy's Court. Okay, I do think this is better than the theme I wanted. I think you're right. I like it. The participants are assumed to be innocent until proven guilty. It's time for Murphy's Court. I'll get an intro on it. Okay, so this is the way we're going to play Murphy's Court. The jury is represented.
Hold on.
Okay, it's going really well. So
okay, now court's in session.
Okay,
all rise.
Okay, thank you. I don't know who the judge is because I think I am the accused. So I have a
You're
story.
Guilty.
I have a story to tell, and I want to know from the perspective of Matt.
Sir, you are out of order. Please sit down.
It was a mistake. It was a total mistake to tell him to have a gavel.
1800.
See, this is what happens when you tell Bell that he's got the control. Bell, you're in control of Murphy's Court. Bell is the judge, jury, and executioner. Okay, no, you and Mac Maury are the jury, and all of the listening audience on the Members Nutrition Super Text line can serve as fellow jurors. Here's the story, and I'm not going to belabor it because we don't have a lot of time. So we have our big event tonight that I plan on attending. Thank goodness that one of us three are planning on attending. Because Bell doesn't attend any of this for fear that someone will actually see him. And
Sure.
McMorey has better things to do, I assume. I guess. I know I'll be at work till 7 o'clock.
He's engaged.
He's
He's not allowed to do things without permission.
My future wife tells me I can't go out at night anymore because I'm now engaged and I'm not allowed to do that. And I'm not allowed to have a drink with the friends, and even if you pay for it. Anyway, so in advance of the big event, I decided to get a haircut because my hair is, I wear my hair a little longer, but it's getting a little shaggy on the sides. And so I wanted to have a haircut. Okay, so I make an appointment because you have to do that now. This is at a barbershop, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to name the barbershop because this guy, I like him a lot. He's a nice guy. He's cut my hair in the past, but I just believe that this is a fatal offense in terms of me going back to this barbershop. And I want to know from you two if I'm innocent or guilty of the charges against me, which is overreacting to this, okay?
Yeah, you're
Love
guilty.
it.
You're
Love
definitely
it.
guilty.
All right, so
Leaning guilty. Love it.
you're leaning guilty. All right, so I made the appointment last Friday. They're closed on Monday for Tuesday morning, and I couldn't go to the guy that owns the place because he's always booked up, and so I picked another guy for a 9:30 appointment to get a haircut. Once again, it's a barbershop. They encourage you to do appointments now so nobody has to wait, yada, yada, yada. I mean, every time I'm in there, he tells everyone in there, do appointments, appointments online. So 9:30 appointment this morning to get my haircut. The last thing I heard as I'm closing the door of my truck was Ken Weaver saying, it's 9:30 on the dot.
So probably 9:32. Yeah, gotcha.
So, like, I'm
Way to take the shot.
I'm in there. I'm in there at 9:30. Oh, wait, 9:32. Oh, yeah, you know your host. See, I thought that was a shot at me for a second. It was a shot at him. Yeah, the pretty boy. Anyway, so what do you think of my new nickname, by the way, for your host? That. Pretty Boy Hand. Or we could also call him Pretty Handy, which I thought was pretty good.
Handsome.
Some? No. I know it. I want pretty in there. I don't want handsome in there. I want pretty in there.
All right.
So I go in and the guy says, "Hey, what's going on?" He knows me. We speak. He goes, "How you doing?" I said, "I couldn't get you this time around because you're all booked up. Hey, you got to get me quick." I said, "But I got the other guy over here. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to."
Yeah.
My purpose is not to out this. My purpose is to make sure I didn't overreact. So he's got a guy in his chair, my guy, that's going to do my hair. And I was like, okay, well, he's just finishing up. No problem.
Yeah.
I wait, and 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 I wait. It's 9:55. They've not said a word to me about anything. The guy was like, I'll get you. 9:55, nobody says anything. They're talking amongst themselves. I'm over there on my phone. My boy that was busy with a haircut, not the guy that I'm going to, but the owner, finishes up and says to another person that's in the shop, "Oh, come on up. I'm ready for you." And at that point, nobody said, "Hey, we're sorry. Something happened, blah, blah, blah." 25 minutes after. And so I stood up and I said, "Guys, I've got a boogie. I've got to be in Nashville at 10:45. I thought making an appointment at 9:30 would be enough time." And they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And that was it.
Wow.
And so I waited a beat, and then I turned around and left. I want to know if I'm overreacting or not.
Now, see, I thought you were going to say that you, started a row or something like that. I don't think that was overreacting in the least. It's in fact, I think you underreacted.
What I want to do, and I believe that too. I think I was genuinely expecting to be stopped. Like when I said, "Guys, I thought my 9:30 appointment gave me plenty of time, but obviously I got to go." And they're like, "Oh, sorry." I genuinely thought that he would go, wait, hold on a second. Come back tomorrow. I'll give you a free haircut. That's not what I was asking for.
No, but
But I thought that's what would happen. What I want to do now is I want to, in a friendly way, stop by and say to him, "Hey, I just want you to know you lost me. You lost me. And I'm sure you have plenty of haircuts, and I'm sure you're going to do a fine business, and me saying goodbye to you is not going to affect you in any way. I just want you to know." I think more places of business need to know, because most people that walk away silently, and most businesses that close down for a lack of business, they do so not knowing why they've closed it down. But that's a big deal to me.
I agree. I actually think you're in the right here.
I agree with your rationale, but I don't agree that going back is the way to. It's
silently.
If you had said
on.
That when you were there, I would have been fully in your court. But going back, no.
Just move on from it.
Yeah, I could see moving on. And that's the
guilty.
Ruling. There it is.
Wait.
They're handcuffing
Guilty?
you. Pulling you out.
Guilty.
Hold on. We
Look,
didn't do anything wrong.
No, that doesn't matter. I told you before you even told the story. I was going to call you guilty.
You got to give me the sound, or else you're going to be guilty.
I was about to say, I think I can see how our sessions of Murphy's Court's going to go. Well, there's an edition of Murphy's Court on Super Talk 99.7 WT, and it's time for the news.
Oh,
thank
no
you.
Outro? Okay.
Well, I mean, we'll figure it out. It's a work in progress. We've only been here for about 2.5 years now. Here's Mac Maury with the news.
It's 2:34. I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 62 degrees. Got light rain in Nashville today, and it looks like we're going to be seeing showers for most of this week. We'll keep you updated. Weather forecast on the way in 2 minutes. A fatal plane crash in Tennessee. A single-engine plane crashed last night on the side of I-40 East in Nashville, ending the lives of 5 people on board. The small plane, registered in Canada, was headed to John Tune Airport after departing from Mount Sterling, Kentucky, when it went down in a ball of fire along I-40 behind the Costco and Charlotte Pike. Audio right before the crash.
Yes, I have the runway inside. November 5 Alpha Tango, runway 2, clear to land. I'm too far away, I won't make it.
They don't know who was flying, the experience of that pilot, or how long they'd been flying yesterday. They do know the people aboard were Canadians, 2 adults, 3 children. In approximately 10 days, the NTSB will have a preliminary report finished, with 9 to 12 months later coming a probable cause will be released. It's Super Tuesday, the biggest day of the GOP presidential nominating contest. In all, more than 860 delegates to the national convention will be chosen today, about a third of total in play. In several of the states, including the largest one, California, a candidate who wins more than 50% of the vote will win all of the delegates. If Donald Trump can do that, Super Tuesday will have the frontrunner getting much closer to clinching the nomination. And the parent company of Facebook and Instagram says an outage earlier today has been resolved. Dave Packer.
Access to Facebook and Instagram has resumed after a widespread outage at parent company Meta. At the peak, there were hundreds of thousands of outage reports, according to Down Detector, a site that tracks problem reports from users. A Meta spokesperson blaming a technical issue and apologizing for any inconvenience.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief located in Franklin. They want to talk with you. They want to see you. You know, frankly, they don't want to see you. I always say they do, but they don't. They don't want you to be in pain at the Dr. Gill Center. They don't want the pain to originate from your neck or your back or your knee or your hip or your shoulder or somewhere else on your body. They want you to live a pain-free lifestyle. But the reality is there's so many people that are in pain that don't know how to alleviate that pain, whether they pop pills to try to mitigate it or get shots or injections to try to eliminate it or to cover it up, or if you're considering surgery, I implore you, call the Dr. Gill Center. Talk to Dr. Wendy, Dr. Dominic, Dr. V, or many of their fine staff are able to help you get back to a pain-free lifestyle, not through pills and not through surgeries, but through natural spinal decompression, red light therapy, their Class 5 laser system, and so much more technology at their fingertips to help alleviate inflammation and pain in your body and get to a healing place. The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Call them for an appointment today. 615-882-4838. 882-4838. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, don't forget, I mentioned that the world-famous Glock store is responsible in part for our huge Super Talk Live event tonight, Super Tuesday, March 5th event at Nashville Palace. That's tonight starting at 6 o'clock, along with Busy Bee Plumbing and MembersNutrition.com. The Glock store at Shoot270.com bringing you those festivities. But also, I shoot at the Glock store. I love the Glock store, and I encourage you, if you need a gun, if you need accessories, if you need ammo, if you need anything surrounding the Second Amendment, there's only one place that I would recommend you go, and that is the world-famous Glock store. The Shoot 270 rooms, I said rooms, not lanes, rooms, are so important to our training experience because they train in a real-life scenario, not in lanes. And I'm not knocking the lanes. I mean, they're good for what they do, but it doesn't replicate real life in the same way that the Shoot 270 rooms. Plus, their trainers are unmatched in Nashville or in the industry, really. So stop by GlockStore.com or Shoot270.com for more information about the incredible and world-famous McGill's Glock store. It's 2:42. You know, tonight's a big night. Today's a big day around the United States of America. We lean on our D.C. man, Brian Wilson, for the real scoop. It's the race to the White House with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here it is.
Watch me.
And we will make America great again.
I promise you, our best days are yet to come.
The Road to the White House with Brian Wilson.
Presented by Smith Gun Co. in Lawrenceburg.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. And more importantly for our purposes, here is our man who has such D.C. experience, Brian Wilson, whom you hear from 3 until 7 and will hear from 3 until 7 today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I believe he's already in position at Nashville Palace this evening. Brian Wilson, good afternoon.
I'm performing at the Palace. It's a lifelong dream, ladies and gentlemen, to perform at the Nashville Palace. But we are here, and we are ready, and we'll be the doors will open at 3. So if people want to come by a little early and watch the magic that we do every afternoon from 3 to 7, already have a couple of guys who've driven in, but we'd love to have you. But it is Super Tuesday, 15 states, and the all-important territory of American Samoa. Don't forget them because the American Samoans are very sensitive about that. We'll cast their say about who's going to be the nominee to represent them on the GOP and the Democrat side. And by the time it's all over tonight, Donald Trump will be very, very, very close to have clinched. It's entirely possible, I think, that Joe Biden may clinch tonight one way or the other. They'll be very close. And then, we sit back and find out, I think the big question that everybody wants to know is what happens with Nikki Haley?
Well, I heard you say something interesting. I believe I caught a portion of your visit with Dan Mandis this morning on this Race to the White House segment. And did you say that Nikki Haley has not bought a lot of ads post Super Tuesday? Did I hear that right, Brian?
Yeah, and I've learned a little bit more about that since then. I mean, she does not have any radio or television ads going forward after Super Tuesday. She's still doing a little digital. She has returned to South Carolina to watch the returns tonight and doesn't have any other events that are now planned. Now, it would be a good time for her to stop, catch her breath, because, when you're on the campaign trail, it's just, chaos. You just can't imagine what it's like all the time. And to catch her breath, to sit back and to decide what she wants to do. And I think the big question mark is, does she have any plans beyond Super Tuesday, or is she going to call it here? I don't understand her strategy at all because in the last few days, she's been attacking Donald Trump in a huge way. And I don't think that endears her to other Republicans if she had thoughts about, well, I'll run in 4 years or 8 years. Whatever her plan is, I don't understand it. But she's keeping her powder dry. She is hedging now on that promise that she would endorse the nominee, which she made back to get on the debate stage. And so, it's really the big question mark, I think, is post Super Tuesday. We know that Donald Trump's going to do well. We know that Joe Biden's going to continue to rack up delegates. But what is Nikki Haley going to do? Does she have other plans? And if so, what are they?
Well, it feels like, and you've covered a few of these elections. I'm not going to say how many. You've told me before. I'm not going to say how many, but you've called
too many.
You've covered a few of these presidential elections. Doesn't this feel like the way that someone talks before they know they're about to get whooped up on and get out of the race?
But what's interesting is that if she knew, and she could have read the tea leaves on this, after New Hampshire. And she continued to just come after Trump. And in the early days, she wasn't attacking Trump. Now she is. What's the purpose of that? Unless you have some plan beyond that you're not quite ready to reveal. And, I don't know. She says she doesn't want to be the no labels candidate. But then why not go ahead and say, I will endorse Donald Trump because I said I would, but she won't say that. I just don't know. She's got something up her sleeve. I'm just not sure what it is yet.
Brian, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you feel like she might be preparing to be the never Trump candidate.
Well, she might be, and I've looked at the numbers, and look, people get mad when I start talking about it, and I just wanted to say I'm not agitating for this. It's not something that I want to happen. But if I take my personal desires out of, I want Trump to be the nominee. I voted for him today. I just want to make that very clear. I voted for Trump today, and that's who I want to be my representative in this race. But if she's looking at it and she's thinking, well, I have no pathway as a Republican, but some people have suggested that if she got in as an independent, she might pick up as much as 20% of the vote right off the bat. Now, if you're presented with that, she's kept her powder dry to not committed herself in one way or the other about what happens after Super Tuesday. If you're presented to that with that, do you think that you would then, explore that path?
Mm-hmm.
Look, when you have as many as 4 or 5 candidates, who are going to get a number, RFK is going to get a number, and she could, if she ran as an independent, get a number. You can actually probably win this thing with only 26% of the vote. So, you have to look at what is possible. And if she comes in with 20% of the vote, the never Trumpers, some Democrats who are disillusioned, and a big swath of the middle, she might be a viable candidate. I say might. But I don't know what her plan is. She's being very mysterious about it.
All right, a slight curveball for you, Brian, in this race to the White House segment. Sinema announces earlier today that she will not run as an independent, that she will complete her term, and she's not running for re-election in Arizona. Who does that help?
Carrie Lake, I think.
Okay.
I think, I had not heard that, and she has a great reputation as up on the Hill. All of the other members adore her and think she's just great. But she's not been finding favor back home of late, and her move to being an independent has not gone well for her.
Right.
So I think that she's out. That's interesting. I'll tell you somebody else who's out, and can I just gloat a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Michelle Obama put out a statement saying definitively she has absolutely no interest in being the president of the United States, and. Everybody thinks it's going to be Michelle. Everybody's talking about Michelle. And I have for a long time said that's not going to happen. And she said today, definitively, she has no interest in running for the office. She will support Joe Biden.
Well, I've heard you say it, and I can vouch for it. And I've said it as well for about as long as you've said it, Brian, and I'll take credit for that, too. I just never felt like Michelle Obama had the fire in her belly.
She doesn't have the fire in her belly, and she detested virtually every minute she was in the White House as First Lady. She just hated being there. She felt like she was in a prison, and she did not suffer it well.
Well, and and people say, well, but she has the ego and she has the narcissism. Well, she gets her ego and narcissism stroked no matter what.
Yeah, everywhere she goes, she's Michelle, and the Democrats love her.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, great stuff. Can't wait to see you tonight, a little bit later on at the Nashville Palace, Brian. We appreciate you and can't wait to hear you in about 15 minutes or so on the drive. We'll talk to you then.
All right. Thank you much.
There's Brian Wilson from Nashville Palace joining us for a few good moments. And you can hear in the background that echo. That's the big room that it is. And that room will be filled with people just like you, and we would love for you to be out there as well. Come and shake my hand. Heck, for the first, I'll tell you what, I'll make this deal with you. For the first 5 people that I see, I'll buy you a drink. How about that? All you got to do is say, hey, Murph, I like you more than Dan Mandis. If you say that to me, a drink is yours. A drink is yours. 615-737-9986. We wrap things up and hand off to the aforementioned Mr. Wilson next. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, a wild show today. We've laughed, we've cried. We've talked about local issues involving this missing young man, Sebastian Rogers. We've talked about national issues involving our presidential election in this year, 2024. And we have encouraged you to come out and have fun with us tonight. Tonight, hot damn tonight. Nashville Palace. Brian Wilson already there, and Brian Wilson has announced that he has opened the doors at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we now know when the doors open. For Jason, who's on vacation this week, I think Jason decided to go on vacation specifically for this event tonight, which I'm very excited about. So come on out and see us. Doors open at 3 o'clock. Brian will be there broadcasting until 7 o'clock. We all will be there, and we'll start horning in with Brian's show at about 6 o'clock, I imagine. That would be Chris Hand, Dan Mandis, myself. I have no idea if the other cast of thousands that make Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the radio station it is, truly the power behind the throne. I don't know if any of those folks will be out there. For example, Chris Webber, who I'm looking at right now. I don't know if Chris is coming out. Maybe. I know Bell's not, because Bell just doesn't do that. He's a little bit of a hermit. McMorey, maybe. Just maybe. But you're the most important part of that link, and so we look forward to seeing you. I did have a listener bring this up. You know, the woman that accused me of not bringing up the Iris Crum case, which is obviously a different situation because Iris Crum is believed to be with her mother, her non-custodial parent. The description of Iris Crum, 7 years old, according to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, 80 pounds and 5 feet tall. 7 years old? I didn't pick up on that, and a listener texted me and was like, that's pretty tall for a 5-year-old, especially when mama's 5'6". So I don't know. Maybe the description's wrong, or maybe she's just especially tall. One way or the other, hope she's found safe and sound. Hope to find you tonight at Nashville Palace. Brian Wilson is up next with The Drive. Until then, McMorray's got news right now. So long, folks.